Howdy folks, hope you all had a great weekend, or at least not a completely terrible weekend, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. This week we're again sponsored by NordPass. As usual, you can get yourself a 2-year NordPass premium plan with 1 month extra thrown in at no additional charge. All covered by NordPass's no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it, if you don't like it, get your money back. Just head over to nordpass.com/jingles and use code JINGLES and take advantage of this offer. So, eBay got hacked, apparently. I don't know if you heard about that. You almost certainly didn't hear about it from eBay, because the only reason I know about it was from NordPass's monthly data breach report. Turns out this hack, which affects more than 300 million users, goes back to at least 2015. And apparently the only reason we know about it now is because of a fight between two hackers, both offering the information up on various different hacking forums. One hacker claiming that it's all new data and asking for a ridiculous amount in Bitcoin in order to give the information up, and another hacker who's saying actually this information's been around since 2015 when eBay was breached back then, and offering the same information up for free just to piss off the original hacker. What's concerning here, at least as far as you and I are concerned, is that I didn't learn about any of this from eBay. Certainly not last month when it was all revealed, not back in 2015 when the data breach is supposed to have occurred. Because you never do seem to hear about it from the site that gets breached until it becomes public information and they have to comment on it anyway, which is why I don't wait until I hear about it from the site who got breached. Instead, I use Nord's data breach scanner included with NordPass that scans the various different usual suspects of hacking and dark web sites for any mention of your data and lets you know when it's at risk. Backed up, of course, by Nord's monthly data breach report delivered via email straight to your inbox, which is how I know about this whole kerfuffle regarding eBay. And you can too. Just head over to nordpass.com/jingles and use code JINGLES to get yourself a 2-year NordPass premium plan plus 1 month for free, all covered by Nord's no questions asked. If you don't like it, get your money back guarantee. So, the Game of the Year awards results are out. Makes sense, it is the end of the year. And I don't normally pay too much attention to these kind of game awards because usually there's a lot of, console games and mobile games, the kind of games that I'm really not interested in, that dominate the charts. But there was one game in particular that just kept popping up over and over and over in the nominations list. It actually picked up 7 nominations and won 2 categories. And I'm not entirely surprised to see it doing so well, but I am very, very happy to see it doing so well. And I am, of course, talking about Stray by Blue 12 Studios and published by Annapurna Interactive. The game where you get to play as a little ginger kitty lost in a city of robots in the far, far future, desperately trying to find a way to get back home. It's a game that I did a playthrough of. And again, it's one of those games that I do occasionally where most of you, let's face it, you're here for the World of Tanks and the World of Warships. And most of you don't actually watch when I do a video on a game like this. But the ones who do watch absolutely love it. And I was very, very pleased to see it doing so well in the annual Game Awards. It got nominated for Game of the Year, although that was won by Elden Ring. It also picked up nominations for Player's Choice and Best Game Direction, although those were won by Genshin Impact and Elden Ring, respectively. It also picked up a nomination for Best Art Direction, and that was... Elden Ring did really, really well in the Game Awards this year, and it's another game that I've never played. That also won the Best Art Direction category. Stray next picked up, in the first category that it won, Best Indie Game, very well deserved, although I was pleased to see Cult of the Lamb also picking up a nomination there, another game that I featured, which most of you never watched. Let's see, where are we? Oh yeah, Stray also picked up a nomination for Best Action Adventure Game, although that particular award was won by God of War Ragnarok, and then the second category, where Stray actually won the nominations. And that, of course, was Best Debut Indie Game, because this is Blue 12 Studios' first title. And again, also very pleased to see that Cult of the Lamb also picked up a nomination in this category as well. So that was nice to see. I mean, they are both very, very good games. I absolutely adored Stray. And Cult of the Lamb is one of those quirky, like, are they really getting away with this? kind of games that I just love. Anyway, moving on. a couple of fairly major titles are getting sequels next year. I wanted to say this year, but it's not quite 2023 just yet. The Space Marine 2 gameplay trailer just hit YouTube and promptly broke the internet. It's been more than 10 years since the original Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, which was an amazing game. And yeah, I have to say, the gameplay trailer for the second one. I mean, I've been burned before by flashy trailers. I mean, it's easy to make something look good in a trailer. Isn't that right, Star Wars The Phantom Menace? But the gameplay trailer for Space Marine? Yes, I forgot the name of the game I was talking about there for a second. The gameplay trailer for Space Marine 2 looks fantastic. And top tip, by the way, Ubisoft, gameplay trailers, they have to actually contain gameplay. Yes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I'm looking at you. Does anybody remember that? Oh, I think it must have been 2 years ago now, right before Christmas. Just ahead of the launch of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ubisoft published a brand new gameplay trailer for the game that contained zero, well, I'm not exaggerating, zero actual gameplay. It was all pre-rendered cinematics. Yeah, I don't think gameplay means what you think it means, Ubisoft. Well, that isn't the case in the Space Marine gameplay trailer. There's lots of actual gameplay in there, and it looks amazing. What is going on with Warhammer 40,000 and great games lately? I mean, you've got Space Marine 2 coming out, you've got Dark Tide, you've had Chaos Gate and its DLC, Duty Eternal. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader is in alpha. It's an amazing time to be a Warhammer 40,000 fan, and yes, I know, there was a pretty good Adeptus Mechanicus game as well, whose name I can't remember, but everybody keeps saying, Jingles, what about the title of that Adeptus Mechanicus game that you can't remember? And yeah, it wasn't bad. Okay, it was actually pretty good. It's not as good as Chaos Gate, but it was pretty good. Well, there's gameplay in it, but it wasn't touted as a gameplay trailer for the sequel, DLC, expansion, whatever you want to call it, to Cyberpunk 2077. That video trailer came out on YouTube just a couple of days ago as well, and everybody went utterly crazy when it was revealed that, as well as the return of Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, we're also getting Idris Elba. Oh yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is? A couple of years ago, there was an artist on, I think it was DeviantArt, who did a what if. In fact, I'm going to stick it up on screen right now. What if Idris Elba was in Cyberpunk? And it doesn't look that different from the actual character, who I think goes by the name of Solomon Reed, who popped up in the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty trailer just a couple of days ago. So that's also coming out in 2023, and it's about damn time. And I don't care what you say, Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the best games ever. Yes, I know it was horribly bugged on console and virtually unplayable on previous generation consoles, but I played it on PC and it was fine. I'm not saying that CD Projekt Red should get a pass for releasing a game on console that clearly wasn't ready for console release, but I didn't play it on console, so I don't really give a shit. I mean, I will give CD Projekt Red a hard time over it because they do deserve it, but it didn't affect me, and it didn't affect most of the people who played it on PC. Next up, Diablo 4 finally has a firm release date. Well, I say firm. When it comes to game release dates, there's no such thing as a firm release date. Games have a habit of slipping. But they've announced at the Game Awards that Diablo 4 will arrive on PC on the 6th of June 2023. It is, of course, already available for pre-order. And, I have mixed feelings about this because I actually played Diablo 4. I've had alpha access for quite some time now, and it's a good game. It's a very, very good game. It reminds me of Diablo 2. I mean, I'm not saying Diablo 3 was a bad game. I really enjoyed Diablo 3 and the various different DLC for it. But I think most people would agree that Diablo 2 is the best Diablo game so far. I think Diablo 4 might be a contender for that title. It is very, very good. However, because there's always a however, my problem with Blizzard Activision titles, and it's not just Blizzard Activision, it's basically all of the AAA games publishers and developers, It's not so much the game itself, because it is a very, very good game. It's all of the shit that goes with it. What are you talking about, Jingles? Well, like I said, it's already available for pre-order. Well, I say it is already available for pre-order. There are, of course, 4 different versions of the game. I mean, it's all the same game, regardless of which version you order. So there's the standard edition, which you can have for only $70. Holy shit. And it's going to sell like hotcakes, of course. I mean, you know, it's Diablo 4. Of course it is. They're not stupid. They know this. So what exactly do you get for the standard edition? For the opportunity to give Blizzard Activision 70 of your hard-earned dollars? Well, you get open beta early access. Yes, beta, not beta. I said it, deal with it. You get the Lightbearer mount in Diablo 4. And then you get a whole bunch of other things that I've noticed Blizzard Activision doing a lot lately. Extra stuff. Added value that you can't actually use in the game that you're buying. And how much actual value it is, well, questionable, because it's all just cosmetics and stuff. You're still playing the same game as everybody who's ordered any other version of the game. But, and remember, this is the standard version. So you also get, in Diablo 3, a game that you may not even own, the Inarius Wings, which is a cosmetic, and the Inarius Murloc Pet. You get the Amalgam of Rage mount in World of Warcraft, and the Umber Winged Darkness cosmetic set in Diablo Immortal, the ludicrously pay-to-win mobile version of Diablo. Then the Deluxe Edition, and I'm not seeing any prices for these just yet, but the Standard Edition is $70. So in the Deluxe Edition, you get everything included in the Standard Edition, plus up to 4 days early access to Diablo 4's launch, a seasonal Battle Pass unlock in Diablo 4, because of course there's going to be a Battle Pass, the Hellborn Carapace mount, in Diablo 4, and the Temptation mount in Diablo 4. So in order to get shit that you can actually use in Diablo 4, none of which, I hasten to remind you, you actually need, because they're all just cosmetics, you have to get the Deluxe Edition of the game. And you're still playing exactly the same game as anybody who paid $70 for the Standard Edition. You're just getting a whole bunch of extra useless shit that you can actually use in the game that you bought, rather than games that you didn't buy and might not have, like Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft. Next up, there's the Ultimate Edition, which is apparently going for $100, which includes everything in the Deluxe Edition, plus an accelerated seasonal Battle Pass unlock, which apparently is some kind of premium seasonal Battle Pass unlock, with 20 tier skips and another useless cosmetic, and you get the Wings of the Creator emote. An emote. Wow. Sign me up. Fortunately, you do actually get to use this emote in Diablo 4, rather than Diablo 3, or World of Warcraft, or Diablo Immortal. And then there's also the Diablo 4 Limited Edition Collector's Box, which includes a double-sided electric candle of creation. No, I have no idea what that is either. A cloth map of Sanctuary, an occult mousepad, a pin of the Horadrim, 2 fine art prints, and a Diablo 4 Collector's Edition art book. I mean, I'm sure this is all very nice. And I'm sure that there are people who are going to spend money on buying these limited edition, ultimate collectors, whatever, versions of exactly the same game that everybody who bought the standard edition is playing. It's your money, spend it wisely. And again, you know, I feel compelled to remind you, it is actually a very, very good game. But what happened to the days when you could just buy the game? Hello, I'd like to make a purchase. 1 copy of Diablo 4, please. Certainly, sir. That'll be $70, please. Or you could get the Ultimate Edition for $100. No, the Standard Edition is just fine. I don't want any of the extra shit that comes with the Ultimate Edition. $70 does seem like a lot, though. What happened to the $60 price point? Ah, well, you see, sir, you do also get a whole bunch of other things included in the Standard Edition. Oh, yeah? Such as? Well, there's pets and emotes and mounts and cosmetic armor items that you can use in Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft. You know I'm here to buy Diablo 4, right? Tell you what, why don't you keep all of that shit for games that I'm not here to buy, and I'll give you $50 instead. How about that? That seems fair. $70 is the price, sir. Yeah. $70 for some bonus pixels. Hey, these pixels are expensive. They don't make themselves. Bonus pixels in games that you're not actually there to buy. Anyway, and you know, this is why I say I'm really kind of conflicted on this, because despite the questionable pricing and packaging, it is a really, really good game. And I'm sure it's going to make them millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. So in 2023, they'll probably be able to announce record profits again off the back of Diablo 4, allowing Bobby Kotick and other top executives to rake in another 15 million each in bonuses, while at the same time claiming that the game didn't sell according to their astronomical expectations, giving them the excuse they need to fire another 800 of their hard-working employees. Because that's just the way the AAA games industry works these days, and has for quite some time now. Anyway, moving on swiftly. You know, I'm sorry, I know it does sound like I'm just consistently ragging on Blizzard Activision all the time. And they do deserve it, but again, you know, I need to reiterate a couple of points. Diablo 4 is very, very good. And Blizzard Activision aren't any different to Ubisoft or Electronic Arts or any of the other big publishers. They're all just as bad as each other. Speaking of Electronic Arts, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is getting a sequel. Does anybody remember that? I mean, you should, because it had the distinction of being the first actually good Star Wars game since Electronic Arts picked up the license. And, in fact, there was a point where it looked like they might lose the license unless they produced something that wasn't completely shit. I mean, you could argue that in the, I don't know, 10 years at that point since Electronic Arts had picked up the Star Wars license from Disney, that Star Wars Battlefront 2 wasn't completely shit, but the problems that everybody had with Star Wars Battlefront 2 were nothing to do with the quality of the game. It was the whole pay-to-win shit that came with it, the loot box fiasco. I mean, the scandal surrounding the launch of Star Wars Battlefront 2 has reached a legendary status at this point. You should all certainly be aware of it. And it looked, for a while, as if Disney might revoke the I mean, not revoke, you know, a deal's a deal, but it was coming up to 10 years. And whether or not they would renew the contract that they had with Electronic Arts was anybody's guess. And then Electronic Arts pulled Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order out of their arses, swiftly followed by Star Wars Squadrons, both of which were very, very good actual games. And that was it. They were just good games. They didn't have any of the predatory marketing and loot boxing and all the kind of associated shit that we take for granted is going to be included in a big games release from a big publisher. They were just good games, and that was it. And so the sequel, which goes by the title of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, was again shown off at the Game Awards and has a release date of March. Wow, they kept that one quiet. So, yeah, I expect more of the same, although with expanded lightsaber fighting moves and different enemies, and, you know, it's more of the same is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Diablo's basically been doing more of the same for 20 years, and it works. Also revealed at the Game Awards, another sequel to a beloved game, Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, it's no big surprise that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out. They had an alpha version. Ooh, at least a year ago. I'm struggling to remember the exact date. And it was great, but, you know, kind of buggy. It was an alpha version after all. But the thing that got me stoked when I saw the Baldur's Gate 3 trailer at the Game Awards was the return of one of the greatest video game characters of all time, the mad as a box of frogs ranger, Minsk. Although there was no mention made in the trailer of the other half of the Minsk duo, the miniature giant space hamster, Boo. Go for the eyes, Boo. Yes. You cannot have Minsk. I mean, it's no big surprise that they're going to be putting Minsk back into Baldur's Gate because he's such a funny character. But part of what made him funny was, see, he had this rangers in Dungeons and Dragons have animal companions, and they're usually like tigers, wolves, eagles, that kind of thing. But Minsk had a hamster. It's a hamster called Boo. But Minsk was convinced that Boo was no ordinary hamster. He was a miniature giant space hamster. I'm not making this up, all right? Like I said, Minsk was as mad as a box of frogs. And Boo was awesome, because he would just sit in Minsk's pocket, not doing an awful lot. I mean, he's just a hamster, right? But you have to remember that Baldur's Gate 2 came out at the time when games were really first becoming available on CD-ROM as opposed to floppy disk. And with the expanded storage features available on a CD-ROM, games developers were cramming in voice acting, which you'd never really had in games before. And Minsk and Boo would have this special attack where Boo would go for the eyes and Minsk would launch Boo at the target and blind them, accompanied by the legendary voice line, "Go for the eyes, Boo." I mean, it was everything that was great about computer games. And you cannot put Minsk in Baldur's Gate 3 without Boo. It's just wrong. There was no mention of Boo in the trailer. I mean, I'm happy that Minsk is coming back because Minsk is great, but part of the reason that Minsk was great was because of his miniature giant space hamster Boo. So can we have Boo back as well, please? And yes, my little dog Boo was named after Boo, the miniature giant space hamster from Baldur's Gate 2. Which is why I would always shout, "Go for the eyes, Boo," whenever I threw a treat for him to chase after. Man, I really miss Boo. You know, my Boo, I miss Boo from Baldur's Gate as well, but I really, really miss my little Boo. He was such a good dog. Well, I'm not going to cry, okay? Let's move on. I wanted to close off this week's episode with something that I just thought was absolutely hilarious. It's about a cheater getting their comeuppance, and this is basically quoted almost word for word from the PC Gamer News website. Professional Warzone player, so this is Warzone 2, going by the name of Exonis, recently competed in the Warzone World Classic Tournament, which has a $100,000 prize pool. He was representing Turkey. He's a player who's previously attracted the wrong kind of attention, with various of his fellow professional gamers posting very strange-looking clips of his plays and suggesting he might be a bit of a cheating old cheater. So this accusation is not uncommon in the Call of Duty esports world, but it was widespread and backed up by a fair amount of proof. Pre-tournament, there was one of his clips circulating around which apparently showed him snapping to and tagging a player that isn't visible, although he didn't apparently have any aiming cheats on, certainly none that were visible. This wasn't definitive proof, of course, but then Exonis decided to just go ahead and prove it himself. Annoyed at the claims that he'd been cheating, he decided to stream his monitor to Twitch during the tournament, and at one point he moved the monitor on its mount, whereupon a very unusual looking menu popped up slap bang in the middle of the screen. He quickly claimed this was just a glitch, but, it looked a bit more like a cheat menu for some very dodgy software than an actual glitch. It's also pretty hilarious watching him desperately moving his monitor back and forth as he realises what's just happened. So he stopped streaming shortly afterwards. Big surprise. And the clip began circulating around the Warzone 2 community, upon which Exonis deleted his Twitter and Twitch accounts, including the stream, which, that just screams innocence, doesn't it? Deleted his Twitch account so nobody could watch the VOD. Surely there has to come a point where you just think, oh, yeah, fuck it, I'm busted. But no, he desperately tried to evade justice. Didn't work, of course. He was almost immediately disqualified from the tournament. And now everybody knows for sure that he's a dirty, great, big, cheating old cheater. I mean, everybody knew it before anyway, but now they actually have proof, which he tried to suppress in the lamest way possible. And I just thought that was hilarious. And that's pretty much all I have time for in this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. Remember, next week's episode will be the last one. Will probably be the last one of 2022. The 19th of December, I start my 2-week Christmas break, officially back on the 2nd of January. But as I'm sure you're all aware by now, I am famous for being crap at a many wide and varied range of things, not least of which is taking time off. I'll probably get bored. There will probably be something coming up between the 19th and the 2nd of January, so keep your eyes posted for that. I do have some plans to actually take some time off. I'm going to see some friends that I haven't seen in a while, I don't know why I'm sitting here explaining why there won't be videos every day during my 2-week time off period. It's a time off period. Of course there won't be any videos, except there probably will, because I'm crap. Anyway, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to shut up and get out of here, so you can go and watch something more interesting on YouTube instead. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've all had a great weekend, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.